Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about arrays in C programming. So let's start the video. First of all, let us try to understand the concept of array. In mathematics, we always use this kind of notations x base I to define a set x which contains some numbers of similar type, or we can say numbers of similar data types in the set X. Similarly, in C language, arrays are used to represent a set containing values of same data type with each data being indexed. This definition might be a bit confusing, but let us try to go a bit deeper to clear the concept. For example, in mathematics, we represent numbers like or set x having some numbers I which are indexed. Similarly, in C, we represent similar set with indexed numbers I with this square bracket around it. So this is how we represent arrays in C. So let us define an array. So to define an array, we first need to have the data type and then the name of the array, and in a square bracket we have to specify the size of array. So this is an example of one-dimensional array. Okay, there can be multi-dimensional arrays, but in this video we are going to focus only on one dimension or single dimension arrays. So other way to initialize the array is to use data type, then provide the name of the array, in square bracket provide the size of the array, and in curly braces we have to specify the elements that we want to enter into this array. This is how we generally define and initialize the arrays. For example, here int marks 50. It means marks is the name of the variable, int is the data type. So all the elements inside mark will be of integer data type. So we should not enter characters or long or any other data type into this particular array. And how many values we can enter? 50. So 50 elements can be entered into variable marks, and all those 50 elements should be of data type integer. Similarly, we can even use different data types like float, grades, 25. And now we have the liberty to enter 25 elements with data type float. Okay. Similarly, if you want to enter characters or make an array of characters, the data type will be char. Name of the variable, for example, is name, and we have specified that we are going to enter 6 elements in the variable name. So DEEPAK. But remember, here we are using single quote to define that these are characters and the array is made up of characters. So remember to use single quote when you are defining characters. For example, let us try to understand how the memory is allotted to individual characters. So when we say the variable name is name, okay, how many elements are there? 6. And remember, the indexing in array starts from 0. It does not start from 1. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we count, there are 6 elements. So here we have element 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 elements, but indexing starts from 0. So first index, that is 0th index, we have the character D. Then we have 1. In the index 1 we have E. In the index 2 we have E. So mostly there can be a small doubt between the indexing and the number of elements or the element number. But only thing that you have to remember is indexing starts from 0, whereas count of elements starts from 1. If you can keep this thing in the mind, then arrays won't be a difficult concept. So remember, a of I refers to the ith element of an array. For example, name bracket 2 will specify the second indexed element, that is third element of an array. Okay, so this is what the notation is. Now, only thing that you have to remember is indexing in arrays starts from 0. Therefore, the first element of an array is indexed at 0. Okay, this is the only thing that mostly gets confused with the programmers. Now, when an array is decided, the compiler reserves consecutive memory locations for the elements of the array. This is again an important concept. It is not that the memory will be allotted randomly throughout the memory locations. No, all the elements will be arranged in a consecutive manner when we declare an array. For example, we have an array called marks, which will have data type int, and suppose we are going to enter 10 different elements in the variable marks. So this is how the memory will be allotted. For example, 0x, these are in hexadecimal, 2000, 00000 to 0x20000009. So this is the address which are allotted to the elements of variable marks. And you can see, if we want to see the index, then marks 0, marks 1, and so on up to marks 9. So 0 to 9 you have 10 elements, but in indexing it starts from 0 to 9. So there are 10 elements indexing from 0 to 9, and there can be any data in these memory locations. Now, suppose you want to enter or edit a data in the array, then what we can do is we can just put the name of the array, then the element number whichever you want to change or edit, and just put the new value to that. For example, in our case we are looking at 8th element, okay, and we are going to enter 50 into that. So now we have entered 50 into the 8th indexed element. So this is how you can edit the value at any particular indexed value. Similarly, you can do all arithmetic and logical expressions, or execute arithmetic or logical expressions using arrays. For example, marks 6 equal to marks 3 plus marks 4. So marks 3 is here 79 and marks 4 is at 30, and we can similarly you add them and enter into the memory location. Okay, so in this way we can just change the values of the variables. Might be possible I have added wrong. For example, here it should have been 50. Okay, 50 plus 30 will give you 80. So there is a typo in this. Anyway, similarly we can have percentages bracket 4, and we can initialize this particular array with null elements. So in that case, all the 4 elements of the variable percentages will be equal to 0. For example, like this. So new memory location for the variable percentages starts from 4000 to 4000 So the indexing starts from 0 to 3. This is representing 4 elements, and you can see here all the data entered or initialized in the variable percentages are 0. So therefore, it is clear that if you leave with empty curly braces, then all the elements will be initialized with 0. This is how you can initialize the variable with 0. Now some advantages and disadvantages of arrays in C. So what are the advantages? In C, continuous memory locations are allotted to similar data type when you are declaring an array. Similarly, accessing and modifying individual elements in an array is very easy. Just you have to give the index number and provide the new number. We can create very small programs and declare and initialize multiple elements in using arrays. Similarly, we can modify multiple elements of an array using a single loop. So you don't have to write big programs to change multiple elements. Similarly, arrays are very helpful when we are writing program for sorting or any other algorithms. So this is very helpful when we are using complex algorithms. But there are some disadvantages which are not that big here. An array in C is not dynamic. So that means you cannot change the size of an array once you have declared it in the beginning. So once you have declared it in the beginning, the size of the array will remain same throughout the end of the program. Therefore, size cannot be modified. So once you have declared a size of an array, you cannot change it. That's the only problem, or we can say disadvantage, which I noted in case of an array. Let us go through a simple program and try to understand how to write program using code blocks. So here we have the program. Let me just compile it. Let me just check. Yeah, arrays. Okay, and then we have 0 error, but some warning. So without an error, we can just go through the program. So let me just start compiling the program. Okay, in here, in the local, or you can say watch window, you can see all the variables which are used in the program, and they have been provided some memory locations in the memory. So you can see here, for example, we start with int numbers 10. Okay, and we can see here that there are 10 elements initialized in the variable number. Okay, so this is how the memory already has been allotted to the variable numbers. Okay, but right now these values which are there in the variable numbers are all garbage values. Now let us change them one by one. Apart from that, we have also initialized a variable called data, which has got 4 elements, 1, 5, 10 and 15. Let us check that. So here we have that data variable containing 4 elements indexed from 0 to 3, and we have initialized them with 1, 5, 10 and 15. You can see 1, 5, 10 and 15. These are all initialized. Now we are going to change the value in the data variable with the index number 2 with the new number 30. So let us execute this program and see what changes it brings. Now you can see here data 2 here, data 2 with index 2 has been changed to 30. Now similarly we can change the index number 5 or the element in the index number 5 in the variable numbers to 15. So let us first check what is there in that. So element number 5 right now has got a garbage value. Let us modify that, and you can see in the variable numbers fifth element has been changed to 15. So we have now initialized the value in that variable. Now in the second section we are initializing an array, okay, with float data type. Let us execute this line. So here we have initialized the variable percentages with 5 elements indexed from 0 to 4, and we have initialized the value 10.2, 15.5, 30.48, 25.435 and 86.546. Okay, so these variables have been already entered into this particular variable percentages. Now if we want to change one of the elements, so for example percentages first element, so this is the target and we are going to change it by 85.56. Let us check. So here you can see 85.5599976. Okay, so 85.56 has been entered. Similarly, if we want to change or we want to start a new variable num percentage, and that we want to allocate that value of percentage with index number 3 into the new variable num percentage. So here we can see num percentage right now has got a garbage value. Okay, and we are going to change it by entering the value from the variable percentages. Third element, you can see third element has been moved to num percentage variable. Okay, now we are going to check filling the data in an array using for loop. Okay, this section we are going to talk about how we can use a loop to fill some elements into an array. For example, here we are declaring a variable n with 5 elements. Okay, so let us check here how many elements are there. So there are 5 elements in the variable n indexed from 0 to 4. Right now these data inside the memory are all garbage values. So now we are going to execute the program line by line and see what changes in the variable n. So now you can see the variable n contains 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, which is due to I into 2 function. So this is what we have entered into the variable n. Okay, so all the variables have been initialized with some value using for loop. Now let us check the next condition where we have initialized a variable marks with 8 elements, and remember empty curly braces represents the variable or the array will contain all elements 0. So here you can see 8 elements are there. So you see 0 to 7 indexed 8 elements, and all are 0 because we have initialized the variable with the empty curly braces. Okay, now next we are going to declare and initialize character arrays. So here we are going to declare a variable called name with 6 elements, and we are going to initialize it with DEEPAK. So let us check where is the name. Right now here you can see name variable contains some garbage value. Now let us execute this particular line of code and see what the name will contain after executing that particular line. So here you see DEEPAK has been entered into the variable name, which has got 6 elements reserved for that characters. Now here we have another character array with the variable name 1, which is empty. Okay, so you can see here the square bracket is empty. We have not put or initialized any number of elements here, but we are actually entering a name Deepak space Nair inside the character name 1. So this is how you can enter some value into the array if you don't have the knowledge of the size of the array. So char name 1 bracket is empty. So let us check here. Now you can see name 1, you can see Deepak Nair has been entered into the array. So this is how we can initialize, declare and modify the variables or arrays and different elements of arrays using C program. I hope you liked the video. If you have any doubts then or suggestions, then please post your doubts and suggestions in the comment section. If you have not subscribed the channel, then I would request you to please subscribe the channel And thank you for watching this video. Stay safe.